Awuor. I was born in the village of Utoe in Bungasi location. I'm the firstborn in our family, and my mother died when I was 5 years, and my younger sister was 3 years. It was not easy at that time. We could not understand what exactly happened, but I still have the pictures and the memory of everything that happened, yet I could not understand at that time. And after my mother was buried, I was left with my stepfather, because I never knew my biological dad until 2020 that I came to know him. So I grew up in the hands of my stepdad and my step aunties. And when I was growing up, I had the goal, I had the task of education, and I could wish and I desired to go to school like my peers. And at that time, nobody could took me to school. So I could every morning could stand at our gate, look at my friends going to school, and I really desired that. And when I reached 9 years, the thirst still continued to grow. And one day I just decided to take myself to school. I just woke my sister up and told her, "Wake up, Lynette, you're going to school." Yet we did not have uniform, books, or learning materials. We did not have. And we just put on our dresses and started the journey to school. And I had identified one public school where teachers were not very serious and strict, whereby I knew very well that if we go there, nobody will ask us about our parents or admission fee. So we went to that school, and when we reached there, at some point I got scared, like where I'm going to start from, because I did not know anybody there, any teacher. Not even my peers were learning in that school. And I just decided, I told my sister, "You go and join class 1, and myself I joined class 2. And that's how I started my education. And that was in the year 99, when I was 9 years. I joined class 2, and the class teacher was very harsh. He could cane me daily because I did not have any writing material. At some point I felt like giving up, but I kept on moving. And now when Kibaki said that there'll be free education, I think that was just a miracle to me, because we were able to now learn freely without paying anything. And when I reached class 8, that was in 2005, I did my KCPE, and yet I did not perform very well, and I did not give up. I told my stepdad, I'm going back, I'm going to repeat. And at that time, my stepdad was so upset about me, like, "Why are you going back to school? You should get married like your peers, no need of going back." And for me, I insisted, like, I'm going back. And it was not easy going back, because I was alone, and it was like a fight going back to school. Because at that time, remember, we are living with my dad, my stepdad and sister, and I was like the mother in that house. So going back to school was like wastage of time. I could stay at home, do the house chores, and even get married. That I think at that time, that's what could make sense to him. But for me, I went back, and my teachers were very supportive. They could pay my mock exam, they could provide me with anything I needed, and at some point I could even eat at school and come back home in the evening. And I'm really, really grateful even for my late teacher George, because he was really, really there to support me repeat my class 8. And I thank God, at least I got good marks. But after finishing my class 8 and getting the at least good marks that I was satisfied with, Dad passed. And after passing on, but before he passed on, when I just finished my class 8, I went to check my KCP result, and that was the end of me staying in that home. That was the end, because I came back home and it was like I found my cousin at the gate, and he told me, Lydia, they've said you go back to where you went, where you have come from. And I was like, now how do I go back to school? Because I just went to school just to check my result, and it was tough. Nilifikiria nikashindwa, what do I do? And at that time, because I grew up knowing that was not my real dad, and I had bad attitude towards men. I was like, kama babangu angechukua mamangu, then singekuwa nateseka. So I had that bad attitude towards like all men are bad. So at that time, maybe I could have been gotten married. The time that I was just home, but I decided not to do that. Instead, I got just a friend, a lady. In fact, she was a stranger. Akaniorganizea kazi ya hao, and I thank God mwenyeenda kumfanyia kazi alikuwa head teacher in another school. So nikamwambia story yangu, akaniambia, you know what, you can still go back to school, at least when the high school. Yes, I had the dream and the desire, but hakuna mtu angenipeleka your high school. So nikamfanyia kazi at least for 3 weeks. Then my stepdad died, and that's when I went back home. After burial, brother akanichukua tukaenda Mombasa, tukakaa naye, but still the wife alikuwa ananimistreat. And being that niligrow nikiwa peke yangu, I could fight alone, fight for myself, and keep everything to myself. My stepmother was mistreating me, and I decided not to tell my uncle, the brother to my late dad. So nilifika time nikachoka, like enough is enough. Heri ndio niingie Indian Ocean nikufe. Then on my way nilikuwa natembea nikijiongelesha before in fact nilifika mpaka kwa Indian Ocean kwenyewe. Then nikajiuliza, hata nikijirusha kwa maji nikufe, I'm still a sinner, I won't make it to heaven. And that just changed my mind, like no, I'm going back home. So kufika home nikapata my step uncle, akaniuliza, hey, you are not fine, nini mbaya? And nilikuwa nimezoea kujinyamazia, and like I'm not going to open up. Then akatoa ukali, niambie nini imekuwa ikihappen. Then I had to tell him everything that has been happening. And that day akarudi home, kwanza kaenda kalewa, akarudi akachapa the wife. And therefore like wife yake akaanza kusema anaenda, but before aende lazima nidunge na kisu nikufe na aende. Ilikuwa stress, it was a long night. Nikashindwa sasa, my uncle and I insist nikae hapo, and the wife like, I'm not going, lazima nimuue. So nikakaa, akaniambia wewe tandika ulale. So wote wameketi, and I was so worried, like what will happen in the next minutes. Nini ita happen? So nikaamua tu kulala. Zile unalala unashtuka, unaangalia, unalala unashtuka. But I thank God, because the same week my step aunt akaniita Nairobi. Then I think kutoka alikuwa amevunjika mguu, so kata nikuje nimsaidie. And through that nikatoka Mombasa kuja Nairobi. It was in 2007 March. Nikakaa na yeye, and through that nikakuwa disciple. Yes, she's the one who reached out to me. Yes, because before nilikuwa Catholic, and I'm like, since change church. So even going to the Christian church, like I'm just going there because sina option. Huyu antangu nikimwambia siendi, because I was so scared maybe atareact aje, atanifukuza. So I just had to obey and not to express myself, just to please her, because I was scared of what will happen if I say no. What will happen if I say, like, I just want to go to Catholic church? And that's how I became a disciple. And yes. Yeah, life has been challenging, but I thank God for this journey, because once the moment nilikuwa disciple, I was the first among the beneficiaries of Chance for Africa. In fact, I was amongst them, and I was so happy because your time nilikuwa around 19 years. So nilikuwa na battle, do I go to high school, do I go to college? And for me, when I was growing up, I had that heart of serving children, and I could serve the children in Sunday school, and through that I developed this attitude of being a teacher. And I'm like, I want to be a teacher and help children, because I could look back the way I struggled going to school and the way this teacher supported me, and I just loved being a teacher, just to help other children. And through the support from Chance for Africa, I managed to go to college, St. David in Dandora Phase 1. I went there, and I had not gone to high school, but I wanted to be a teacher. Somehow it was a bit, somehow I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this looks impossible, But I kept on telling myself I can do it. Kept on encouraging myself. I went, nika-enroll, nikasoma 1 year, and now the second year, nilikuwa registered for the final exam. And being that sikuwa nimeenda high school, it was impossible. So I had to do a bridging course, of which I had no idea about it, even the settings. So nika-register your bridging course, nikaenda, nikafanya, nika-fail. I really felt bad. And I was not able to do the final exam from NEC. Then one of the lecturers just advised me that now that you cannot do the NEC exam, but you can still continue the college, you have full knowledge, and having this full knowledge will help you. You can still teach as you continue with the education. And I'm like, this was a call for me. Just continued with my college. I finished, I graduated, I got my living certificate from the college, not from the NEC. And that's how I started teaching. I remember I was 19 years when I just finished college, and I started teaching in different schools. I was very young. Sometimes some teachers could look down upon me, and I kept on encouraging myself, like, I can do it. I have to start somewhere. And after 10 years after my class 8 KCP, I went back to high school. Because I was like, yes, I have knowledge, I'm teaching. I was also a head teacher. At some point I was a deputy, and even my boss could look at me like, despite that you have not gone to high school, you don't have NEC certificate, but you are able, you are doing amazing work. And that's how I became a head teacher. And through that, I went back to high school, and I studied for 1.5 years from Form 1 to Form 4, because my focus and my desire was to have that high school certificate, because I could feel like there's something missing, there's something missing. And that's when the journey now started of my education. When I go back to high school, after I went back in 2016, and in 2017 November, I finished my high school, and I got a grade. I thank God I did not get an E. And that was God's favor, because learning from as in studying from Form 1 to Form 4 in a span of 1.5 years, that can only happen through God. After that, I decided to go back to college and upgrade so that I can be able to learn, can be able to do Kenyan system, the DSS. So I went back to college, to upgrade, and upgrading, I was doing 3 subjects. I just decided to study at home. Once I book a private exam as a private candidate, I did my exam and I passed. That was in 2019, and 2020 late November, I went back to college again, and last year December I also did my final exam from NEC, and now I was so happy because I was able to do the final exam that I was not able to do 10 years ago, and that was a victory to me. That was amazing. I did it in the past very well, and that was I feel like I got satisfied in my heart, because I was feeling left out. I was looking down upon myself, like I don't have high school certificate, I don't have NEC exam, but I thank God for that far. And in 2021, because during Corona, schools were closed and it was not easy, and during that time I just came up with this mission of starting a school to specifically help those children who are not able to go to school, or whose parents are not able to pay their school fees. And that was my mission, and I thought best that this is the only way I can be able to give back to the community. Like when I was going in my primary, I was supported by my teachers. In college, I was supported by church, the Chance for Africa, and I realized that I really need to give back to the community, because there's those children in our communities that are not able to go to school. Maybe their parents, some of them are orphans, some of them are disadvantaged, and that's why I started this school, Happy Gardens. Yeah, it wasn't easy, starting a school. It is not a job, because I don't have any capital to start the school. And I just started with a daycare in my house with 3 children, took care of them one term from January to May, and that's when I went out and looked for a hall, because I realized that I was getting many children, and most of them were around 3 years, and I saw an opportunity to start a school with these children, so that my school could grow and I could achieve my goal of helping these children in my community. And today, as you're talking, I'm so much grateful, because I started with 3 children, and today I have 83 children. So I'm so much grateful, seeing how God has been taking me from one step to another. Parents, they're also very, very supportive, and also just the way God moved with me from Kibera to Kabiria. I did not know anybody in Kabiria. Nobody knew about my work, but God just decided to send me like Abraham, go to Kabiria, where I did not know anybody. And God has been doing amazing things in my life, seeing my school growing. I'm so much grateful, and my desire and my mission is still to be able to help many children go to school. Because for me, when I was growing up, when I was growing up, before I took myself to school, I could look at other children going to school and I could feel like crying. I could feel pity on myself, and I believe that even today there are those children that seeing other children or their peers or their friends going to school and they're not able to go to school, they feel the same, and I pray that this school will be able to grow, and I'll also be able to help to get people to support my school, so that I can also to reach out to many children. Even in where I'm having my school, I can still see many at home you know. And it's my desire that I'll be able to help them. Thank you so much for listening to me. God bless.
What is your encouragement to those people who want to give up on life because of the challenges?
Yes, my encouragement to them is that never give up. That has been something that has kept me going. Never give up. Just start. You know, it doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter where you are at. It doesn't matter the situation. You know, and there's a time that one preacher preached and said that for you to make a step, you must put your foot forward. You know, there's no way utasema nataka kufika tao na umekaa kwa kiti. Just start somewhere. You know, through that, you know, through the little effort that you're putting, God will take you places. God will take you far. You know, because for me, what I always tell myself that I'll never give up. I will give up that time that I'll breathe my last breath. That's when I'll give up. But as long as I'm alive, I'm healthy, I will never give up. Thank you.
Thank you.